The anime begins with a young boy who loves hearing stories about heroes and their brave deeds. He gets really excited by a story where a hero defeats the Demon King and brings peace to the land. Because of this story, he dreams of being brave like the hero and fighting for what's right. Fast forward to the present, in a busy city called Fagite, which is in the southern part of the Alzano Empire. Here it is a famous school known as the Alzano Imperial Magic Academy. This school is well known for teaching powerful magic, and it attracts students who are very talented and ambitious. One day in the hallways of the academy, a new student named Rumia Tingel impresses everyone with her magical skills. She helps an old person who is sick, showing that even though she's new and still learning, she's very good at magic. Then suddenly another student named Sistine Fibel rushes in with her shiny silver hair flying behind her. On their way to school, Rumia and Sistine talk about their favorite teacher, Mr. Huey, who recently left. They really look up to him and hope that whoever takes his place is just as nice and skilled. But their talk is interrupted when a weird person rushes toward them in the town square very fast. Acting quickly, Sistine uses her magic to change the person's direction, accidentally making him fall into the nearby water. Everyone gets confused, and the man becomes aggressive towards Rumia, which makes Sistine mad. She then uses her magic again to make him leave. When they head to school, the absence of their new teacher worries Sistine and the other students. But they feel better when a man named Glenn Radars comes into the classroom and becomes their new teacher. Sistine and Rumia are surprised to realize he's the same person from the town square. As Glenn prepares to begin the class, Sistine eagerly interrupts, urging him to start teaching right away. But her impatience grows as Glenn decides to sit down and instructs the students to study by themselves. Sistine becomes even more frustrated when Glenn's attempts to teach become confusing, with messy writing and complicated explanations. The situation worsens when Lean, a diligent student, asks Glenn for help, only to discover that he admits he doesn't know the answer. Sistine, upset by his careless approach, scolds him strongly for not fulfilling his teaching responsibilities properly. Following the argument between Sistine and Glenn in the classroom, she confronts him, expressing her frustration with his teaching methods. However, Glenn defends his approach, stating that he believes in students learning independently and exploring concepts on their own. As tensions rise, the bell for break time rings, causing Glenn to leave quickly, much to the disappointment of Sistine and her classmates, who are unhappy with the lesson. Meanwhile, in the headmaster's office, one of the teachers named Hallie Astri expresses worries about Glenn's skills, but Headmaster Reek supports his decision to hire Glenn, influenced by Professor Sayalika Arfania's recommendation. In a critical moment, Sayalika confronts Hallie, expressing her support for Glenn and discouraging any opposition. Feeling intimidated by her determination, Hallie withdraws his concerns and leaves the confrontation. Later, while Sistine complains about Glenn's teaching in the changing room, she unexpectedly encounters him, leading to a tense argument fueled by mutual dislike. And Sistine challenges Glenn to a magical duel, which she wins decisively. Despite his defeat, Glenn remains determined and continues teaching using his unique methods. However, his attitude of not taking things seriously bothers Sistine, leading to a heated discussion about the importance of magic in society. While Sistine highlights the advantages of magic, Glenn expresses doubt, suggesting that fields like medicine and infrastructure are more crucial. His pessimistic remarks about the potential risks of magic surprise the students, sparking a confrontation where Sistine, overwhelmed with frustration, challenges Glenn emotionally, prompting him to have a moment of realization. Later in the day, Glenn discovers Rumia practicing magic alone. Seeing her efforts, he offers assistance by providing the necessary materials to complete the magic circle. After witnessing the successful activation of the magic circle, Glenn reflects on his own childhood fascination with magic. During their conversation, Rumia shares her past encounter with dark sorcerers and her desire to master magic, inspired by a mysterious individual who once saved her from danger. When Rumia shares her connection to Sistine's family and her dream of becoming a magician to fulfill her late grandfather's wish of unlocking the mysteries in Nulgalia's Sky Castle, Glenn understands their goals and motivations. The following day, Glenn surprises his students, including Sistine, with a heartfelt apology and a renewed commitment to teaching. Starting the lesson, he challenges their traditional approach to magic, criticizing their reliance on textbooks and promoting a more intuitive method. By demonstrating the shock bolt technique without using the usual chants, Glenn highlights the importance of belief over memorization, impressing Sistine and her classmates. encouraging them to rely less on textbooks and embrace a more interactive learning style. Glenn's unconventional teaching earns him praise from the students. As Glenn gains popularity, he unexpectedly encounters Leo, a person with a snake tattoo, on his way to school. Simultaneously, two mysterious individuals with tattoos enter Sistine's classroom, targeting Rumia. Despite Sistine and her friends' attempts to defend Rumia, they are unable to withstand the powerful military-grade magic of the attackers. Faced with danger, Rumia considers surrendering to protect her friends, but Sistine strongly objects, deciding to stand by her side. With tension escalating and Jean Gaines moving to capture Sistine, Glenn intervenes, causing Sistine to worry about his ability to confront Jean's advanced magical skills. Jean launches a strong attack against Glenn, but his efforts prove futile as Glenn's innovative artificial magic nullifies the attacks within a certain range. However, Glenn's own magic usage at this distance is restricted by this defensive mechanism. Despite being a third-level magician, Jean is taken aback by Glenn's proficiency in artificial magic and finds himself overpowered as Glenn employs his outstanding combat skills to quickly defeat him. The situation gets worse when many skeletal warriors come through a magical portal, overpowering Glenn and Sistine despite their efforts to fight back. Force them to run away and chased relentlessly by the skeletons. Determined to change the situation, Glenn uses his strong military-grade magic to defeat the skeletons. But it tires him out a lot, making him collapse from exhaustion, showing how tiring high-level magic can be. After the tough battle with Jean, Rick steps in by making a magical barrier to stop Glenn from using artificial magic. However, Glenn, showing his cleverness, works with Sistine to get past Rick's defenses. Taking advantage of the distraction, Glenn fights Rick fiercely and wins by using Rick's own weapon against him. But the fight leaves Glenn very tired, and he falls asleep from exhaustion again. Upon regaining consciousness, Glenn finds Sistine unconscious and tries to help her by using healing magic. But the rest doesn't last long because Glenn contacts Celica to tell her about the recent events, revealing the Academy's vulnerability to attacks by the Snake Tattoo Gang. Celica warns Glenn to stay alert, and he rushes to the magic portal, only to find Rumia trapped within a magical barrier created by their former teacher, Ulysses, who is connected to the bad group called the Researchers of Divine Wisdom. Not willing to leave his students in danger, Glenn decides to confront Huey and rescue Rumia from being captured. Despite feeling tired from previous battles, Glenn gathers his determination. However, he struggles until Rumia helps by boosting his strength with her own magic. With Rumia's assistance, Glenn persists and manages to break through the magical barriers, ultimately defeating Huey. Shortly after, Sistine arrives, shocked to discover their former teacher's betrayal. After the chaotic events with Huey, Glenn talks to Celica about Rumia's situation. Surprisingly, Rumia is revealed to be Princess Hermione, who has been missing for 3 years. Huey and his secret allies plan to exploit her identity to weaken the Alzano Empire, shocking both Glenn and Celica. Not long after, Sistine and Rumia announce the beginning of magic competitions at the Academy. Though excited, some students feel anxious, fearing they will be overshadowed by classmates from different classes. To boost their confidence, Glenn reassures them, expressing confidence in their ability to succeed. Based on his observations, Glenn strategically divides the students into groups on their abilities, hoping for success through hard work and following his guidance. Shortly after, Glenn and his team begin practical training sessions, where they encounter Hallie's claim over the territory. With high stakes involved, Glenn challenges her to a significant bet, hoping for a reward to ease his financial burdens. On the day of the competition, excitement fills the air with Queen Alicia and other important figures in attendance, boosting the students' spirits. However, Rumia feels disheartened by the contrast between her necklace and the Queen's, lowering her spirit. As the competitions progress, Glenn's class secures 3rd place overall, with Rumia excelling in the mental endurance segment and clinching 1st place. Meanwhile, Riel and Albert remain alert, suspicious of the Queen's guards, especially Zelos Draghard. Ensuring the Queen's safety remains their top priority. During a break, Lean asks Glenn to teach her transformation magic, prompting Glenn to demonstrating his skills by taking on Rumia's appearance. However, an accident occurs when Sistine mistakes Glenn, still disguised as Rumia, for the real Rumia. Later, as Glenn in the backyard, Rumia shows her appreciation with sandwiches. But Queen Alicia's unexpected arrival brings up emotions, unraveling past conflicts between them. Shortly after, the situation becomes alarming as Zelos and his group, behaving strangely, escort the queen away. Albert, using magical surveillance, informs Riel of the dangerous situation. Meanwhile, a group of imperial soldiers arrives, claiming orders from the queen to capture Princess Hermione. This shocks Rumia, deeply disappointed by her previous belief in the queen's kindness despite their complicated relationship. However, Glenn suspects the soldiers' true intentions, firmly believing that Queen Alicia wouldn't order Rumia's capture. Despite his efforts to confront the soldiers, he is quickly overpowered. Nevertheless, Glenn manages to rescue Rumia from immediate danger, and they hide in a secluded alleyway. Understanding the urgency, Glenn tries to contact Celica for help using his magical bracelet. Unfortunately, Celica's focus on the ongoing race and the Queen's affairs prevents her from providing immediate assistance, leaving Glenn to deal with the situation alone. Additionally, it turns out Eleanor, the royal maid, is involved in the sinister activities of the researchers of divine wisdom, along with Zelos. They control Queen Alicia through a cursed necklace, forcing her compliance under the threat of her life. Celica's dilemma arises from her concern for everyone's safety, including the students, making the situation even more complex. In the midst of this chaos, Riel confronts Glenn and Rumia, despite their past collaboration in the Imperial Court Mage Corps, hinting at a deeper history beyond mere conflict. Determined to thwart Zelos and his group's evil schemes, Albert and Riel team up with Glenn. To infiltrate Zelos' inner circle, Glenn and Rumia devise a clever plan involving swapping identities with Albert and Riel. This enables Glenn and Rumia, disguised as Albert and Riel, to easily blend in at the final race match, supporting Sistine and her friends. The competition concludes with Sistine's remarkable use of advanced magic, leading Glenn's class to victory in the magic competition. After their victory, the winners have an eagerly anticipated audience with the Queen. Upon meeting her, Glenn and Rumia reveal their true identities by removing their disguises. Glenn boldly asks the Queen to allow them to pursue Zelos and the traitorous conspirators. However, the Queen's unexpected response shocks them. She orders Glenn to eliminate Rumia, expressing regret for her very existence. This revelation devastates Rumia, leaving her feeling sad due to her mother's harsh decree. Despite this, Glenn remains steadfast in his belief that the Queen's actions are influenced by powerful spells, recalling her tearful plea 3 years ago for Rumia's protection. This belief strengthens his resolve to uncover the truth behind the Queen's sudden change. Glenn then devises a cunning plan, pretending to attack the Queen to provoke Zelos. When Zelos retaliates and subdues Glenn, it provides the perfect opportunity for Glenn to employ his special artificial magic. This magic plays a crucial role in breaking the evil spell on the Queen's necklace, freeing her from its control. Glenn's plan was successful, freeing the Queen from the necklace influence. After that, Glenn encouraged the Queen to tell Rumia the truth. Overcome with emotion, the Queen hugged Rumia tightly, expressing her deep love and apologizing sincerely for the struggles of the past 3 years. Meanwhile, Albert and Riel tried to capture Eleanor, the elusive traitor. Despite their efforts, Eleanor managed to escape, demonstrating remarkable cunning and skill in avoiding being caught. With the traitors defeated and the Queen and Rumia safe again, Glenn and Rumia joined Sistine and their friends in celebrating at a restaurant. However, there was a surprise when Glenn runs out of money after paying off the restaurant bill, despite his promise to treat them after winning the magic competition. On the other hand, impressed by Rumia's strength and determined to protect her foster sister, Sistine decided to improve herself. She asked Glenn for guidance, expressing her desire to learn advanced military magic. Initially unsure because of the risks involved, Glenn was concerned about the potential negative consequences of such magic. However, Sistine's strong determination convinced him of her steadfastness, leading him to agree to her request. Along with teaching her magic, Glenn also instructed Sistine in martial arts techniques, preparing her for both magical and physical defense. During their usual trip to the academy, Glenn, Sistine, and Rumia ran into Riel, who was holding a large sword. Despite appearing hostile at first, it turned out to be part of Riel's unique friendship with Glenn. Furthermore, Riel, disguised as a female student, revealed her secret mission to protect the academy and its students. Recognizing Riel's dedication, Rumia expressed gratitude, although Riel considers her efforts as just part of her professional duties. In a friendly gesture, Glenn invited Riel to join his class, which prompted her to share her dream of joining the Imperial Court Mage Corps. Glenn corrected her, encouraging her aspirations and demonstrating his understanding of her personality and goals. The students were fascinated by the strong bond between Glenn and Riel, with Riel known for being direct, openly acknowledged Glenn's importance in her life and her commitment to watching out for him. Later, during a practical demonstration, Sistine displayed her improved magical abilities, earning praise from Glenn and her classmates, who recognized her as a standout talent in their class. When it was Riel's turn to demonstrate her magic, she amazed everyone by summoning a powerful sword using her advanced military-grade magic and attacking a training target. At first, her classmates were intimidated. However, Sistine, Rumia, and others saw beyond her tough attitude and tried to befriend her, appreciating her potential for friendship. Glenn, with his keen observation skills, sensed that Riel's role was more than just protecting Rumia, suspecting deeper motives. During a study trip to the White Alchemy Research Lab and a fun day at the beach, the students enjoyed each other's company in the relaxed atmosphere. At that moment, Riel noticed Glenn's happiness, which was a stark contrast to his previous serious attitude in the Imperial Court Mage Corps. Together with Sistine and Rumia, Riel had a wonderful evening at the beach, experiencing genuine friendship for the first time and remove her feelings of being alone. However, during a private talk with Glenn, Riel expressed her emotional struggles, seeking clarity on why he left the Imperial Court Mage Corps. Misinterpreting her intentions, Glenn suggested she stay at the academy with their friends, unknowingly making her feel worse and more isolated. The following day, as they traveled to the White Alchemy Research Lab, Sistine and Rumia tried to comfort Riel, but she responded with anger, withdrawing from them. Recognizing her need for space, Glenn explained to the girls that Riel was dealing with anxiety. At the lab, they met Birks Blomone, the lab director, who discussed a revolutionary fusion of white magic and alchemy that could change the magical world. However, the situation became somber when they witnessed upsetting experiments on animals, leaving Rumia feeling saddened. Birks then shared information about Project Revive Life, a project that aimed to create artificial humans using human DNA and rare pure magic, but the project was abandoned. Despite Glenn's attempts to stop discussing the project, Birks revealed that the researchers of Divine Wisdom planned to resurrect and perfect it, posing a serious threat. As they prepared to leave, Glenn tried to explain the situation to Riel. However, already upset, Riel refused to listen and quickly went to the beach alone. In her distress, a young man resembling her lost brother, Cian, suddenly appeared. Believing him to be her brother, Riel was astonished. Unbeknownst to her, Albert, using his magical eye, recognized the impostor as a deceitful agent of the researchers of Divine Wisdom. Albert wanted to intervene, but he encountered Eleanor, who was involved in the deception, blocking his way. Meanwhile, the impostor lied to Riel, asking her to obtain rare magic from Rumia to save his life. Deceived, Riel decided to eliminate anyone who got in her way, including Glenn, as instructed by the impostor. Despite Glenn's attempts to explain, Riel, influenced by the impostor's lies, she attacked Glenn, choosing to leave her old life behind for the hope of happiness with her supposed brother. With the impostor's mission accomplished, Eleanor quickly left. On the other hand, upon her return to the inn, Sistine heard a commotion from her room. Upon entering, she found Riel holding a sword and Rumia injured. Surprised by Sistine's appearance, Riel fled with the unconscious Rumia. At the same time, Albert arrived with the seriously injured Glenn, seeking Sistine's help in his recovery. Understanding Glenn's condition, Sistine helped Albert in a healing ritual, utilizing white magic and her blood to heal him. Meanwhile, Rumia regained consciousness, realizing she had been kidnapped by the evil researchers of Divine Wisdom. Upon waking up, Glenn learned about Riel's abduction of Rumia. Angered by the situation, he reprimanded Albert and the authorities for using Rumia as bait to gather information on the researchers of Divine Wisdom. However, they decided to prioritize rescuing Rumia and Riel before further discussion. At the same time, Birks, Eleanor, and the impostor initiated a ritual to extract pure magic from Rumia for their Project Revive Life. Using tracking magic on Riel, Albert discovered her location at the White Alchemy Research Lab. Determined to intervene, they embarked on a mission to thwart the plan. However, Birks released chimera monsters to block their progress. Despite the problem, Albert urged Glenn to swiftly rescue Rumia, while he confronted Birks alone, preparing for a battle. Upon reaching the place where Rumia was being held, Glenn encountered Riel and the impostor claiming to be Cian. Despite Glenn's attempts to persuade her, Riel kept attacking him, convinced that the imposter was her real brother. Using his intelligence, Glenn made Riel remember her brother's name, which momentarily stopped her aggression. Seizing the opportunity, Glenn used magic to immobilize her, and then disabled the device, draining Rumia's magic, while capturing the imposter Rainer. As Riel began to remember her past, she realized that she was an artificial creation modeled after Lucia, Cian's sister, by the researchers of divine wisdom. Cian had asked Glenn's help to protect Lucia from the dangers of the project, but tragically, both Cian and Lucia were killed by Rainer. Glenn then took Riel and joined the Imperial Court Mage Corps. At the same time, Rainer was using the false identity of Cian to steal the project Revive Life findings. When Rainer sent 3 mindless Riel clones to attack Riel and Glenn, they joined forces to stop them. Impressed by Glenn's courage, Riel decided to help him, helping in defeating the clones. Meanwhile, Albert used his fire magic to subdue Burks, ending the confrontation. After ensuring Riel and Rumia were safe, Glenn brought them back to the inn, where Sistine was overjoyed to see them unharmed. Sistine warmly hugged Riel, reaffirming their strong bond and highlighting their newfound feeling of being like family. After the events at the White Alchemy Research Lab, Riel lives with the Fibel family, staying at Sistine's house with Rumia and becoming part of their family. Apologizing for her past actions, Riel asks forgiveness from Sistine and Rumia, who reassured her of their unwavering support and unity. Meanwhile, Selika ventured into a dungeon, exploring an underground maze through a magical portal and her intentions unclear. At the same time, in the library, Glenn praised Sistine's ability in white magic, expressing gratitude for her crucial role in rescuing him. Unaware of the ritual, Sistine felt embarrassed about Glenn's appreciation, recalling their shared moment during the ritual. However, the mention of their kiss accidentally made Sistine feel embarrassed, stirring up awkward emotions. When Sistine looked embarrassed, Rumia and Riel misunderstood, leading Riel to confront Glenn. After clarifying the situation, Glenn stopped further conflict and assured them he was innocent. Later, they met Leos Kletos, a new teacher at the academy and Sistine's childhood friend, who jokingly reminded her of a childhood promise to marry him, much to her embarrassment and disbelief. In the headmaster's office, Hallie was excited about Leos Kletos joining the staff, thinking highly of him and believing he might exceed expectations. However, Selika was suspicious of Leos's sudden arrival at the academy, so she kept a close watch on him. Not long after, Leos started teaching Sistine's class, impressing everyone with his friendly approach and clear explanations suited to the students' understanding. But Glenn, observing, grew concerned when Leos introduced military-grade magic, thinking the students weren't ready for such advanced lessons. He worried about the risks of using such powerful magic without understanding its dangers. During a break, Leos invited Sistine for a walk in the school garden, sparking memories of their childhood together. To Sistine's surprise, Leos suddenly proposed marriage, expressing his sincerity and desire for a quick wedding. Meanwhile, Glenn, Rumia, and Riel watched secretly, shocked by Leos's unexpected proposal. While Glenn believed Sistine and Leos might be a good match, Rumia had doubts about Leos' intentions towards Sistine. After rejecting Leos's proposal, Sistine expressing her commitment to fulfilling her late grandfather's wish of becoming the greatest magician and uncovering Melgasius Sky Castle's mysteries. Despite Selika's expertise, Leos dismissed Sistine's dream, urging her to abandon her mission for the Sky Castle. The insult for her dream and her grandfather's memory deeply saddened Sistine. Upon hearing Leos's insult on Sistine's dream, Glenn intervened to defend her. Despite Glenn's efforts, Leos ignored his intervention, prompting Sistine to claim a romantic relationship with Glenn to deter Leos. To strengthen their deception, Glenn pretended affection and falsely claimed intimacy with Sistine, making her uneasy and accidentally revealing their kiss. Enraged by this revelation, Leos declared Glenn his rival and challenged him to a magic duel for Sistine's affection. Afterward, Glenn enlisted his students' help for the upcoming duel, while Sistine regretted how a simple marriage proposal had escalated into a high-stakes confrontation. Later, during a meeting with Albert at a tavern, Glenn learned about the resurgence of Angel's dust in the capital, stirring memories of his late comrade, Sarah Silvers, who died fighting the substance. Reflecting on Sarah's resemblance to Sistine in both appearance and personality, Glenn left, lost in thoughts of reminiscence. Meanwhile, Leos conspired with a mysterious individual, seeking their assistance in dealing with Glenn. Unbeknownst to Leos, this person had hidden motives, paving the way for another plans. Not long after, a highly anticipated magic duel between Glenn and Leos began, resembling a strategic battle scenario where both acted as leaders of their respective student groups. Howley oversaw the event with proper formality. Initially, Leos seemed to have the upper hand with his clever tactics, earning praise from Howley for his strategic ability. However, Glenn and his students demonstrated resilience, employing effective strategies and relying on Riel's expertise as a former member of the Imperial Court Mage Corps to counter Leos's moves. Just as Glenn seemed on the verge of victory, Howley declared the match a draw due to time expiration. Glenn, not wanting to deliberately win to avoid further disputes over Sistine, accepted the decision. Nevertheless, Leos remained undeterred, persisting in his pursuit of Sistine and challenging Glenn to a one-on-one duel. Frustrated with the ongoing competition, Sistine scolded both of them, asserting her independence and rejecting their efforts to win her affection. Despite Sistine's scolding, Glenn accepted Leos' challenge, which annoyed Sistine, leading her to leave after slapping Glenn. Later that night, as Glenn reminisced about his past with Sarah, Sistine asks comfort in his company, prompting Glenn to share his challenging journey. He tells the story of a young hopeful aiming to become a hero through mastering magic, only to suffer the destructive consequences of his uncontrollable power. However, his life took a turn when he met Sarah, whose unwavering support reignited his fading dreams. Yet, their happiness was shattered by tragedy, leaving Glenn bitter and disillusioned, turning away from his former life as a magician. Moved by Glenn's story and his defense of her dreams, Sistine expressed gratitude, her smile bringing back memories of Sarah's kindness. Their intimate moment was interrupted by Leos's sudden appearance, who mocked Glenn and taunted him for his past mistakes. Enraged by Leos's insults, Glenn challenged him, unaware of Leos's expertise in tulpa magic, a potent combination of white magic and alchemy. In a tense confrontation, Leos used his powerful tulpa magic to defeat Glenn, declaring himself the winner. Glenn, feeling sad, quietly left the scene, prompting Sistine to follow him, hoping to provide comfort. However, their moment together was cut short by Leos, who pressured Sistine into agreeing to marry him by threatening to expose Rumia and Riel's true identities. After Glenn's defeat, he sank into sadness and disappeared from school, causing concern among his friends. Meanwhile, Sistine surprised everyone by announcing her acceptance of Leos's proposal, despite objections from Rumia and Riel. On the day of the wedding, just as Sistine and Leos were about to get married, Glenn intervened dramatically, revealing his past as an Imperial Court mage and taking Sistine away. However, their brief respite was interrupted by the sudden danger posed by people infected with angel's dust. While Glenn faced off against Jadis, Rumia and her friends encountered danger at the church. Fortunately, Riel and the Imperial Court Mage Corps arrived just in time to rescue them. Glenn showed great skill, using his strong abilities to defeat the zombie-like attackers. Seeing his intense actions, Sistine, though briefly nervous, scolded him with a slap. But things took an unexpected turn when Leos revealed himself as Jadis Lofan, a former agent known as the Justice. Despite Glenn's worries about her safety, Sistine, appreciating his constant protection, stayed by his side. Together, they confronted Jadis, who unleashed powerful tulpa magic against them. When Glenn struggled, Sistine encouraged him to put aside past conflicts and unite against their enemy. With their teamwork, they managed to defeat Jadis, though he escaped capture. When Rumia and Riel arrived, they checked on Glenn and Sistine. Glenn, carrying Sistine on his back, questioned his ability as a teacher, but she reassured him of her full support. After that, Glenn resumed his role as Sistine's teacher at the academy, marking the end of the story. Moral lesson from the story: even heroes need to control their budget wisely after treating someone at a restaurant, because their adventures might come to an abrupt end.